Peace tourism today is the overarching need of the hour, the overarching need of the hour. And the country that is seen as leading the charge will be the one that will set the global standards. And I think Thailand and Phuket is extremely well placed to do this.
Like this all my life, somewhere we can feel like we can be free.
I was in Phuket last week for the ASEAN Tourism Research Association annual general meeting and their forum. I was invited by Dr. Pon Pisanu, the dean of the school over there, as well as the head of the association, Dr. Nityananthan. They felt that it was about time that perhaps we should look at the possibility of elevating the whole concept, given today's atmosphere of chaos, conflict and controversy, into bringing the linkage between tourism as an industry of peace and actually focusing it down into a more practical level. And they knew of some of the work that I had done in the past on this matter, so they asked me to come and talk about it. About 2 years ago, I had done a more wider presentation to the Part of Thailand chapter on this, positioning Thailand as the world's first alliance of civilizations destination, and come up with a group of 11 tourism itineraries that focused on the concept of peace. Now, this is pretty much along the lines of what is being done for the Sustainable Development Goals, but those are focusing more on environmental issues, on the natural environment. And what I'm talking about today is to bring in the SDG number 16, which is peace, justice and strong institutions. This is, I think, probably the most neglected of all these 17 SDGs. Nobody actually pays any attention to it because it's all focusing on the natural environment. Well, this one actually focuses on the socio-cultural environment, which is the relationships between peoples, between our heritage, our culture, our societies, our religions, our faiths, our ethnicity, which is what actually people also sell. The tourism industry also sells as part of the two legs of tourism, nature and culture. So if nature gets disrupted by global warming, the same will happen if culture gets disrupted by what I call the other global warming. And that's what I'm trying to put together. So the ASEAN Tourism Research Association thought it was good time to perhaps put this on the map and give it the traction and the recognition that it deserves on the industry's agenda. One of the itineraries, the 11 itineraries that I have developed as part of the peace tourism agenda, focused on South Thailand using Phuket as a hub. Because Phuket is literally the gateway, the primary gateway to all of South Thailand, the primary international gateway. So that's a very, very, very good starting point. Now, if you look, obviously, if one looks at the broader context of Phuket, it is focused very much heavily on selling itself as a beach destination. This is what it's all about. But if again one goes into the history of Phuket and the migration that has come from peoples of different faiths and cultures, the Chinese culture, the Malay culture, the European culture, the Hindu culture, the Islamic culture, the Thai culture, it's actually a very, very good amalgamation, a very, very good confluence of cultures. Phuket is right there. And of course, this was there long before it became, in terms of its history, long before it came into prominence as a beach and holiday destination. So this is what I think is also the imbalance that needs to be focused on, because if one looks at some of the places within Phuket itself, they fit in perfectly within the overall theme of Thailand today, which is to project itself as a safe haven destination. In Phuket today, you'll see people coming from different parts of the world. Countries which are pretty much at war with each other are coming to Phuket for nice holidays. I mean, the Russians and the Ukrainians, the Arabs and the Israelis, the Indians and the Pakistanis, they all coming to Phuket. And they're all pretty much having a, for better, for, you know, barring a few ups and downs, they all come there and mingle and have a pretty good time over there. Now, why do they do that? Because it is by far the best place that they can find all the aspects of a really good holiday, live in peace with the environment, with the culture and the society, come to Thailand and get visa-free access and have pretty much a good time over there. And obviously on the condition that they leave their problems at home. Don't bring your baggage to Phuket. Don't, create all the arguments and the conflicts. Don't transpose them over there. Leave all your baggage at home. Come there, live in peace with each other, live in peace with the environment, spend money, relax, do whatever you want, and highlight that. Now, if one takes that a little bit further, that same confluence of cultures applies to South Thailand as a whole, because Songkhla, Pattani were also in the old days maritime ports. And if one looks at the history of that, it's all over the place. And there are two museums, both in Phuket as well as in South Thailand, which highlight these confluence of cultures brilliantly. And I've been to both these museums, and a lot of people unfortunately don't go to them. But if you take the time to go through those museums, and you can see them on the slides that I presented up there, one of those museums, one of them is in Phuket downtown. The other one is at the Prince of Songkhla University in Pattani province. It was developed by Her Royal Highness Princess Kalayani Vatana, the late sister of the late King, His Majesty Ramana IX the Great. And both these museums actually epitomize the beauty, the substance, the content, the glory of Thai culture, the entire that region's culture at its roots. Now, one again carries that forward, positioning that whole region as a peace tourism destination also benefits that entire region, because it comes under the umbrella of the IMT-GT growth triangle, which is Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand. So again, using Phuket as a base allows that entire region to benefit, because Phuket still remains the major gateway. And that region, that whole part of South Thailand is probably the most strategically located piece of real estate in all of ASEAN, because it links North ASEAN with South ASEAN. The Buddhist majority countries of North ASEAN with the Islamic majority country of South ASEAN, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, Singapore on this side, and Laos, Cambodia, Myanmar, and Thailand on the north. So from a local, sub-regional, regional, and a global perspective, Phuket is by far the best place to become the launch pad for this entire new concept. The best place to start is to minimize the bureaucracy, the bureaucratic element, which means one moment these things get into under anything that involves the government, basically you can write it off. Nothing's gonna happen, and you can quote me on that. It's much more important for it to become private sector driven. So small groups of people, even individual hotels, can take it on themselves, do their own brainstorming internally, design their own itineraries based on these themes. So each hotel basically designs its own package. And Phuket then each little unit, given their own environment, they can design packages based on the concept of peace tourism. They can take their visitors to visit the temples, the mosques, the churches, which are all there in Phuket, in line with, they can also link that with the natural environment. Because the three components of peace. One is you live in peace with yourself, which is of course the health and wellness, the meditation, the spas, the retreats where people come. So that allows you to live in peace within yourself. So that becomes one component of that itinerary. The second one is living in peace within the people, people within your own company, with the communities around you, where you can minimize the level of discord, conflicts among the group. So it's not just about creating jobs and income, but it's also making sure that people, families and others live in peace and harmony with each other. And the criteria for that could include multiple aspects of it, to make sure that the people you work for, the people who rely on your hotel for subsistence, also live in peace with each other. And that whole village goes beyond just using tourism and that hotel as a source of alleviating poverty and generating income, but also making sure that people of different faiths live and work together. And as you know, in Phuket, for example, we have people from multiple diverse cultures working there. You have Muslims, you have Buddhists, you have Hindus, you have Christians. So this is part of that area that people take for granted, this richness of the heritage of the people who work there. And the third, and I think the most important part of this, is the fact that you live in peace with the world at large, with the tourists, with the people who come there. And again, that also reflects the heritage of the people who come to that island. Everybody is treated with courtesy, with respect, and walks away with social media bursting with saying, I had the most peaceful holiday of a lifetime, because I left feeling at peace with myself and at peace with the environment and peace with the nature and culture and the people who were there. And you can just see the dynamics of that. You couldn't put a value to the word of mouth power that will go with spreading that kind of message around. And in a world today which is racked by conflict, chaos and controversy, those moments of peace can raise the level of a so-called holiday into a completely new dimension. Adopt it, embrace it, think about it. You remember 20 years ago, when people talked about, conserving, saving energy, cutting down on plastic use, what was that? Basically, you change the towels in your room, or you cut back a little bit on plastic. I mean, it was all sort of peripherally on the surface. Now look at it, it's gone on to a whole new dimension. It's taken 20, 25, 30 years to do that. Well, the seed for this one is now just planted. And the reason for that is because nobody gave it the traction that it deserves. Well, now a problem has become a crisis. Well, now we've got a war that we are feeling the heat from at a global level. Well, is it time to start addressing these things? Yes, it is. And the time for that has basically come. Now what we need to do is to take this concept and say, okay, the seed is there. Now we need to water it, fertilize it, make sure that it actually grows, because the time has come. You simply cannot sweep this issue under the carpet anymore. And that is why here in this part of the world, we have seen the beauty of having the benefits of peace. So everywhere there is a direct correlation between peace and tourism. So the industry now, to answer your question, the industry now needs to take it seriously, give it the respectability that it deserves, the respectability and the recognition, and then letting water find its own level. So create focus groups within your own little entities, whether as individual associations or individual hotels or individual tour operators, and water will find its own level. Each individual can create their own little peace tourism itineraries to build on this framework. The time has come to take this forward and adopt it, embrace it, and act on it. There is no doubt that it cannot be swept under the carpet anymore. There is no way of living in denial. It has to be given the traction it deserves.